RYUC After Action Report Essential, our uniqueness. This recording is part of a series of recordings reporting on an exploration into our creativity, collectively entitled Releasing Your Unlimited Creativity After Action Report, abbreviated RYUC-AAR. This particular recording addresses the creativity essential, dealing with our uniqueness and its implications. Background on the Creativity Essentials and the RYUC material. The Creativity Essentials are concepts, principles, ideas, or whatever one may wish to call them, related to the source out of which our creativity arises. The journey of exploration into our creativity revealed the essentials needed to be addressed and understood in some way by an individual if one desired to move as deep as possible into their own creativity, creative ability, and creative power in this incarnation. Otherwise, one would be placing self-imposed limits on their creativity. Essentials are not building blocks or fundamental items used to create something. Rather, the essentials are about the stuff out of which the building blocks and foundational items arise. It is suggested you ponder, contemplate, do your own experiments with the creativity essentials such that you know their truth for yourself. Here I wish to bring to your attention we each have a very unique perspective of creation. What I say and write about on the topic of creativity with its relationship with the creative essence of creation are my comments based on my observation and experience from the journey of exploration into our creativity. If what I say resonates with you, use it. Otherwise, it's recommended you do your own contemplation, experiments, and exploration into the variety of topics discussed here to see which true for yourself. A unique subjective expression of the creative essence of creation. It is said the single most important observation and experience summarized from the journey of exploration of our creativity, that the creative essence of creation, the stuff out of which creation arises, seeks to experience its creation through us, and the energy within us giving rise to our life and sustaining us is a unique expression of the creative essence of creation, and our body is the vehicle this creative essence chooses to create to use for the experience it desires to have. A unique subjective perception. We need to realize as a unique expression of the creative essence of creation that we each have a very unique subjective perception of creation. Each of us is a one-of-a-kind expression of this creative essence. No one perceives and experiences the world and creation as we do. No one has our pain. No one has our joy. We each are incredibly unique. No one else carries our exact perception. No one can dispute our unique subjective perception of creation. For any experience we have, each of our perceptions are subjective, and no one can prove or disprove what we are seeing and experiencing. Whether or not anyone agrees with our subjective, unique perception is another issue. It is to be noted our unique subjective perception is directed towards the experience we incarnated to have. This uniqueness of our subjective perception contains the gift which arises from the unique creative essence of creation flowing through us which we have to give. Our uniqueness is a gift we have to give, but only if we live it. As a result of our unique perception, we each have a unique gift that no other can give, for they do not have our uniqueness. What we need to understand is we need to learn to understand what serves and does not serve us and our uniqueness. We also need to understand it is only in living our uniqueness can our unique creativity and what we have to offer can be expressed to bring forth whatever gifts we have to offer to creation. Too often we are busy living someone else's patterns, someone else's explanations. Too often inherited beliefs and the patterns from others. Our real work is to uncover and discover what is authentically ours, and let what is authentically ours guide our creativity. This is about uncovering what's truly ours. A solo journey. Here the question is, what is being asked of our uniqueness and our unique perception? To address this question requires us to take a solo journey. No one can take the journey for us. Others can advise us, but no one can tell us how to take this journey. However, rather than truly embracing our unique perception of creation and understanding our unique perception, we seek to fit in and align with those around us for whatever reason we may have. Consequently, in not living our uniqueness, or at least understanding why we are not expressing our uniqueness, we are denying ourselves of many of the very thoughts we need to address our life. Here again, we are living a new, original, never-before-experienced creation. Our life is a new original creation, and our unique perception will provide us with the information we need to navigate the life we face. It is vital that we learn to discern what is true for us and serve our own being. We need to become aware of what resonates within us and is in alignment with who we are, for it is only in our uniqueness we can bring forth the unique gifts we possess. We need to eat and digest all that we are told, keeping what serves and resonates within us, nourishing us, and discard the remainder like we do with any food. One important realization in dealing with our unique subjective perception is to realize whatever an individual shares or reports is their unique subjective perception of creation. They may report what many others also say, but that does not make what they say or what any other says is true for us and our unique journey. We need to learn and discover ourselves, our own unique truth, and what is true for us. The importance of our uniqueness. If one looks out at the world carefully, they can come to the realization that anything that has not been created by what we could call God, or not created by nature, was created by a human being, and whatever has been created by humans started as a single thought within the mind of an incredibly unique subjective perception of an individual. All of it. This means every spiritual or religious belief, any social custom or way of being, any form of government, any scientific principle, any medical or healing practice. It doesn't matter what it is. It all started in a unique subjective mind of an individual. When communicated, others simply accept that thought and build on and act on that thought, and before we realize it, we have manifested all that humans have brought into existence. Yet it all started from a thought within the mind of a single unique subjective perception. Additionally, any reported experience by a human has been filtered by the human mind and the experience it has had and its perception. This includes any reported experience of God, non-physical beings, channeled or spiritual information, images of the future, existence of other realities or entities, and the like. All has been filtered by the human perception and the past experiences of that reporting human mind. Each of us is a one-of-a-kind expression of the creative essence. No one else experiences creation as we do. Our unique perception is itself a gift, but only if we live it. Much of what we believe we have borrowed from others. The real work is to discover what is authentically ours and allow it to be expressed. Here we need to remember everything created by humans started in a subjective, unique mind of an individual. You, in your uniqueness, may be carrying the perception of exactly what another or what humanity has been seeking. Our challenge is to live our uniqueness and learn to dance with the world in which we find ourselves. Addressing our uniqueness is obviously a discussion unto itself. The question is, does what we take and use from others really serve us and our uniqueness? Given the nature of the human being, such that from the very beginning we need to depend on others to care and feed us, we continually look to fit in some way with others. Given the uniqueness and subjectiveness of our perceptions, we either attempt to get others to see what we do or why we do. Or do we buy into and accept the perception of another so that we can feel we have agreement with another or others? When we buy into another's perception, we do so with the possibility of denying our own truth. Unless we check to see if what another sees resonates within us and aligns with what we feel relative to the flow of our creative life energy, we will be denying ourselves in some way.
We need to discern our personal truth.
What has been observed in the journey of exploration of our creativity, our body will respond to what is true for our uniqueness. When we remember or experience something that has a great meaning or beauty to us, we feel it within our body and our being. It is a feeling we recognize and enjoy experiencing it. However, when we are faced with a memory or experience that is opposite of what allows us to feel beauty or great meaning, we get a feeling that is not something we enjoy or want. When we are faced with anything that moves us towards the experience of beauty or great meaning for us, we can say what we are experiencing resonates with us, for it moves to alignment of what we value. Here we need to note that there are things that are true for us and we feel resonates, whereas there are other things with which we do not resonate, but others may experience a resonance. This is about our own personal truth and experiences that are true for us, but not true for others. This is not about what people would call absolute truth or the truth of the universe. Rather, it's about what is true for us to achieve what we incarnated to do. We each are totally unique, and we each are here for our own uniqueness. As such, we each will have a personal truth which is true for us to do what we came to do. It also needs to be understood that even if a collection of individuals agree on something, their agreement does not make what they agree upon as an absolute truth. They too, as a collection of individuals, are here for a collective experience which may have little to do with any absolute truth. Tribal beliefs are an example of a collective belief which may or may not be true beyond the tribe. To address what serves us, it is essential we hold our creativity and that of any other sacred. It is to become aware of what we eat and digest and take into our being. Does what we hold within our being allow us to hold our creativity sacred and serve our truth and our uniqueness? Do we keep what serves us and nourishes us and discard what is not useful? We each need to look at what is effective in our life that aligns with our truth and what our uniqueness desires to experience. Influence of and on the human collective. This brings us to a comment on the human collective. The human collective can be seen as a huge ocean where we each have a small portion of that ocean. The first thought is the human collective, being a composite of all the human experience, provides a correct understanding of what the human experience is all about. However, collective thinking may or may not be correct. If the human perspective is flawed in some way, the collective will also be flawed. The collective energy may be correct, but our mind's experience of it and the interpretation we give it would continue to be flawed since it is interpreted by our human mind. One only needs to look at all the different paradigms and different perspectives about the world we experience that have come and gone through the ages. Although the interpretation we give may be flawed, but what is said is correct for the individual making the report, for otherwise the individual will not report what they are experiencing. It is to realize much of what we think and believe is what we have picked up from others. As long as we do not see anything conflicting with what we pick up from others, we assume that is true and correct. This, of course, may or may not be the case. Here again, it is important that we eat and digest all that we are told and become aware of what resonates with our being, and that we will accept, although we have no reason to deny its truth or acceptability, but we can feel if it resonates with our personal truth. We just need to become aware of what is true for us as distinguished from what we have just accepted from others. Our uniqueness, a life path, and an orchestration. Our uniqueness appears to arise from the path for the role that we have been given in the orchestration of creation. The orchestration is reflected in each of us having a life path and a role to play in creation. The universe orchestrates our life for the bigger picture it wishes us to fulfill. We have a role to play. Our life path encompasses our reason for incarnating, and we each carry unique gifts and talents we have to give. Additionally, we are provided with an internal compass to keep us in line with our life path if we listen to the internal guidance it provides. As one moves through life, one can shed the details of whatever story we tell about our life and look at what was or is the creative urge that propels us through life and what kept or keeps calling us to a particular direction in living life, and how we may be being continually distracted from expressing that creative urge. If we look at our life carefully, we can observe and see how the universe orchestrated our life to have the experiences we do and the synchronicities in the experiences to lead us from one experience to the next. We can also observe each significant change in direction in our life is often usually accomplished by a restlessness within our being. In this case, the energy within our being pushes us in a new direction, or some event occurs in our life changing the direction of our life. Here we need to understand the solution we seek to address the solutions to all the problems we face in our life lie within our own creative passion. Additionally, the solution we need to solve the world's problems lie within the creative passion of some individual and is reflective of the gift they came to give. We each carry within our creative spirit and its creative passion the solutions we need. Our challenge. The issue we all face is that when we grow up, we are not taught how to get in touch with our unique expression of our creative life energy and the presence within and learn to dance with the world. Rather, we are taught how to survive in the world and live in the world based upon the world in which we grow up and with what is relayed to us by our early caregivers. We do not learn to follow our own unique truth and perception. To become our unique truth, eventually we need to shed all that is not ours. We are faced with a transformation in some way in our life to return to our uniqueness and our authentic self. Part of our journey through life is to discover who we really are and what serves and doesn't serve us. The challenge we face to address dealing with this problem is simply deciding how we will choose or not choose to deal with all the programming and our life experiences would keep our uniqueness and creativity held captive in a cage of our own making. Possibility of a gentle phoenix. Choosing to step out of the life we have been led to live and to move to live more in line with our authentic self, in alignment with the desire of the creative essence of creation, requires a change in the way we live our life. To align with the desire of the creative essence of creation requires a transformation or a life change of some type. The phoenix experience has often been used to describe this transformation. The phoenix experience appears to arise from the mythology of ancient Egypt, but very prevalent in Greek mythology. It has been described in a variety of similar ways. The phoenix is a bird that is consumed by the fire of its own nest and then reborn from its own ashes, representing the cycle of transformation, death, and rebirth. The term is now used metaphorically and refers to a profound personal transformation, usually following intense hardship, trauma, or destruction, often characterized as a dark night of the soul followed by a rebirth. Stepping out of the programming of life and the hardships of life to align with the flow of the creative life energy within our being arising from the desire of the creative essence of creation has been characterized as requiring a phoenix experience, a transformation from who we have come to think we are to who we truly are. It became very clear in the journey of exploration into our creativity, the personal transformation of intense hardship, trauma, destruction, and the like to align with the creative essence of creation asked of us is not required. That is, a gentle phoenix, a faster, easier, gentler, and more playful experience can be had. The gentle phoenix arises from working with the inherent natural self-healing process available within the human psyche and its mind-body connection and the body wisdom, much like the way the body heals any injury. As with any injury, there may be some outside assistance to assist the process, but the healing comes from within the body's natural healing abilities. So too using the natural self-healing process of our transformation. We need to surrender to the process, assisting only when necessary. To consciously work with this process requires a perspective of life that recognizes the existence of the desire of the creative essence of creation within us. Here it needs to be understood the transformation process is not about healing. It is about transformation of one's life and is often interpreted as requiring some type of healing, because all healing will ultimately require a change in lifestyle if the root issue is to be addressed. There may be an associated healing, but it's not about healing. It's about transforming one's life into a different way of being and moving, more in alignment with the desires of the creative essence of creation. The inherent natural self-healing powers available to us require close attention to the body and the awareness of feeling, which gives rise to our intuition and body wisdom. As such, accessing the gentle phoenix requires allowing our internal guidance found within each individual to lead. The challenge is to access our unique internal guidance and the understanding how it works within the unique individual. Understanding how it works within is a solo journey unique to each individual. It's about nurturing the inherent self-healing process. In this process, it is a very feminine process of assisting and nurturing and unfoldment, as opposed to the thrusting masculine aspect of mind to seek to jump in and act on what mind thinks it needs to be done. The gentle phoenix requires awareness and observation. Analogously, the process is much like how one nurtures the fetus growing within the womb. The fetus will unfold quite naturally. We just need to be aware of what the process requires as it is unfolding. Observation of the journey of exploration into our creativity suggests if one can learn to follow the passion which arises from the flow of our creative life energy as it shifts in our life, we would have the doorway to a gentle phoenix. It would be a doorway to access the creative ability and creative power we need to create both that inner satisfaction with life, which never runs dry no matter what is happening external in our life, and create a life worth living without a lot of hardship, trauma, and destruction. The biggest issue we face is distinguishing the communication from the creative essence of creation from the thinking and the thoughts in our own mind. The trick is simply to become aware of the passion what leads to creative play as it shifts in our life and ready to move to follow it. Now, it does need to be noted the Phoenix experience does lie on a spectrum. At one end is the traditional intense hardship, trauma, destruction of one's life, and the dark night of the soul. At the other end is a totally faster, easier, gentler, and more playful experience. The choice is really ours, and all that it really depends upon is a willingness to step out of mind and follow the flow of the creative life energy, giving rise to one's heartfelt passion. Dealing with the possibility of a gentle phoenix is again about our choice. Are we willing to work with what arises within us? Do we deny what is arising within and continue to follow what our human mind has come to believe and think it knows the path forward? Here we need to remember the desire of the creative essence of creation flowing through us existed before our mind developed. It provides a direction for our life, and we need to feel it and not think it. We need to remember our life is a new, original, never-before experienced creation, and our mind only knows the past. We must be open to feeling and where our energy is leading us. Information related to assisting in a gentle phoenix is discussed in other posted recordings and web files. Limitation of the human mind. It is clear from the journey of exploration into our creativity, the human mind is incapable of contemplating the vastness and diversity of creation. In fact, relative to our creativity, it appears the human mind is limited in 4 ways. One way is whatever we experience, it is subjective. As such, there is often no one or no reference to which we can refer to get a clear understanding of what we experience. Mind only knows the past. We may not have the experiences to explain our own unique experiences. Consequently, we often look to others to tell us what we have experienced, rather than be open to our own realization in time as to what exactly we experience. We often think another person has the same or very similar experience, but that may or may not be the case. This also leads to the second limitation of the human mind. Whatever we experience, the human mind interprets based on its past experience. Often we will have experiences where we do not have sufficient prior experiences to fully understand and comprehend what we are experiencing or experienced. Third limitation of the human mind is the mind is incapable of fully comprehending the vastness, diversity, and details of creation. It is limited to the particular view or experience it has had in a given moment. The fourth limitation is the human mind is very narrowly focused and may reveal exquisite details about an aspect of creation, but is only an aspect of creation and one based solely on the particular view or perspective the mind has. The best our human mind can do is give an explanation that is created by our creative imagination, which is only an approximation to what it can come to understand based on the experience it has had. Some approximations are better than others for a given understanding, and in some situation the approximation is quite powerful, but will in some way be incomplete. As we gain experience in how we see and how we choose to experience what is before us, our perspective will change based on these new experiences. Also, often when we receive a perception about the unseen, our mind characterizes it as analogy or something symbolic, where it cannot fully grasp what is seen or experienced. Mind does not have sufficient words and experiences to properly characterize it. This is also true for any creative endeavor, one that has not been previously seen or experienced, since our mind has not been there to know what to experience. What this all boils down to is, as a human being, each of us are creating our own personal experience of reality. The process starts with an experience we have that originates in sensing an energy at some level of our being. If we are aware, we experience it as a feeling. We then respond and react to what we feel based on any reflex action, as in response to a pain or any thought that may arise.
Any thoughts that do arise
Are based on our
mind's characterization
or interpretation of the energy we are experiencing. The characterization is based on our past experiences, what we believe, what we think, and any interpretation we may have in response to what we are experiencing. No matter how accurate we think we have characterized what we experience in some way, it is inaccurate. This also applies to what we experience as an intuition, inner knowing, or something channeled or divine inspiration. This is why sometimes we get an intuitive insight, and when we act on it, it does not seem to be correct, but normally a clarification or further insight is needed. Closing thought on our uniqueness. Whether we are aware of it or not, we experience reality as it is in the moment we are experiencing. What we perceive in that moment and how we respond to that moment is our choice. How we choose to respond in that moment may or may not change the experience we have. Yet the change in reality may not be immediate, but it may change the result of how we choose to respond. Now, two questions arise. The first is, do we know what is true for us and serves who and what we think we are? That is, are we experiencing that present moment in a way that we are satisfied with life and or we are energized by life itself? How we are feeling does have a bearing on how we choose. The second question is, do we possess beliefs that empower us to create a life worth living, that enables us to access what we sense and feel, to access the depth and breadth of our creative power and creative ability available to us in that moment? Or do we somehow disempower ourselves and perceive ourselves as not up to the task which is presented to us? The recommendation here is to hold your creativity and that of any other sacred, as discussed in the creativity perspective. Do your own experiments to find out how much creative power and creative ability you have. Probably the biggest aspect of holding our creativity sacred is to have the possibility of exploring options
where we were previously unable to explore options and choices.
There is the need to continually seek to look past the mind's understanding, to look for where mind's understanding is incorrect. It is very important we each learn to discern what is true for us. Otherwise, we will be unable to express our truth and the unique gifts we have to offer. Presence within, our creative spirit, and our uniqueness. It was stated at the beginning of this recording, our unique subjective perception is directed towards the experiences we incarnated to have. Our body gives us the perspective of seeing creation as a human being and what it needs to survive in the world. We then overlay the general human perspective of being human with our unique needs or preferences. We then overlay the human perspective of being a human with our unique needs or preferences. We then need to sort out what serves us, and we need to look and observe what we come to believe serves us when it is either neutral or even harmful to us or distracts us from what we incarnated to do. We need to continually look within and see if we are being served by the life we are living, or there are aspects to our life which are not really serving us. We then need to call on our creativity to figure out how to go about creating something which better serves us. Observation from the journey of exploration into our creativity revealed it is very probably that if we are not aligned with the reason for our incarnation and what the creative essence of creation desires to experience through us, we will be redirected in life in some way. If one looks at their life carefully, they can observe how the universe has orchestrated their life to have the experiences they had or have. One may also observe the synchronicity in their experiences to lead them from one experience to the next and each significant change in direction in their life. Additionally, often the change of direction in life is accomplished by a restlessness within one's being or some type of external change. An exercise that can be done, as said above, is to look at what was or is the creative urge that propels us through life, that kept calling us to a particular direction in living life, and how we may be continually distracted from expressing that creative urge.